Now, we women have always been under pressure to look good, but more and more young people are getting cosmetic treatments like lip fillers and Botox. It's led to a rise in the number of botched jobs. And Save Face, a register of providers of non-surgical cosmetic treatments, says it received 1,617 complaints last year in the southeast. That's up from 372 in 2017. Pete Humphreys has been to Eastbourne to speak to one woman affected. Now, warning, his report contains pictures that may make you feel squeamish.
That's all the calcium, all the white bits is all the calcium.
When Michaela went to her beauty therapist's house to be injected with dermal fillers, she just wanted to look good.
Just so unevenly placed.
But after having the treatment, she began to suspect something had gone wrong.
It was a lot more painful. And afterwards, my lips were just so swollen. I kind of began to panic.
Michaela's lips had been pumped with the wrong substance, and she was left with painful calcium lumps.
I really struggled to use things like, forks and spoons because the metal would dig into the lips, and it was extremely unsightly.
After she complained, Michaela's beautician blocked her on social media. The surgery to repair the damage cost over £1,000.
I had to have 20 injections to numb my face, and I think it took about 3.5 hours. And when I looked at my face after, my face was all pretty much covered in blood.
Unfortunately, we see cases like this all too often. These procedures are medical in nature. We are injecting things that can have big impacts on people's health into their faces and even sometimes their bodies. So just some examples of things I've had to look after: bad infections, including an abscess formation. I've had to look after effectively a dead top lip. So all I'm going to do is give you a little bit of subtle pull out.
Dr. Sophie Shorter repairs botched facial fillers in her clinic near Maidstone, as well as carrying out the procedures herself. She says the government needs to step in to protect people's health.
At the moment, we're in a Wild West. There is no regulation. It's quite shocking. People believe there is, and the public believe that just because someone is advertising one of these treatments that they must be regulated, but they really do need to start asking a few more questions.
The Department of Health says it is exploring additional safeguards, but Save Face, a national register which accredits practitioners, says the government isn't moving fast enough.
They're incredibly dangerous in unsafe hands. Complications range from blindness to tissue death, and more people are suffering those types of complications. And, we've been meeting with the government and the Department of Health since 2014 to explain how problematic these things are. And year on year, they decline to do anything about it.
There's concern that social media and reality TV are adding to the number of complications.
We see a huge surge when programmes like Love Island are on the TV, people seeking them, and in turn people then who are having botched procedures and procedures gone wrong. So these things are continuing to grow in demand, and subsequently as are the number of botched treatments.
As for Michaela, she's still getting her lips treated regularly, but nowadays she visits a registered doctor.
That was Pete Humphreys reporting, and we're joined now by someone who made the journey from Worthing to the Love Island villa last year, Amy Hart. Welcome, Amy, to our rather glamorous home.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with you, though, Laura, because I know you're introducing a new law to try and stop under 18s getting lip fillers and Botox. Why introduce that law?
Well, it's something that I've been interested in for a long period of time in terms of regulation of medical devices, particularly for women. And when I looked at this and I saw the gaping hole in the law that young people can get Botox and lip fillers from unregistered providers without any parental consent.
When you say young people,
so
what's the youngest that you've come across?
Well, so in terms of cases that have come through, because it's not a regulated area, there aren't specific cases that you can necessarily point to in terms of a national register, but anecdotally, constituency cases of people 16, which is 16-year-olds do not need Botox.
I don't think anyone's going to disagree with you here. But you heard the point made there by Safe Face, which is actually, it's not just an age limit. It's about regulating the wider industry. Doesn't sound like this is going to go far enough to do that.
What this is something called a private member's bill. Now, a private member's bill is the only opportunity that a backbencher like myself gets to actually introduce regulation, but it needs to be quite narrow in scope, and it can't cost the Exchequer any money, which means that you necessarily have to do something which is
so
quite
you'd like
narrow.
the government to go further by the sound of it?
I think that there is a huge case to go further in terms of regulating this.
So why aren't they? Why is this being left to you as a new MP to introduce a private member's bill? This should be
I think there is a lot of
agenda,
interest in this area, and I hope the government will be supportive of this. But how it works in Parliament is basically there is an amount of legislative time that you've got to do things. Now, at the moment, obviously, we had the Brexit bill, then we've got the budget to get through. There's a number of other bills which are set out in the Queen's speech. So this is just a way of accelerating it more than anything else.
Okay, let's bring in Amy. Now, a very personal question, Amy, forgive me, but it's up to you to tell us. What are you happy to tell us about in terms of procedures you've had and which you haven't had?
So I have had my teeth done, but I get told a lot about them. Apparently they're awful, so waste of time. And I have had my boobs done as well. When I was 20, I had my teeth done when I was 17, boobs done when I was 20. I haven't had lip fillers, despite popular belief.
You've been accused of it.
I've been accused of it many times.
Which really annoys you, doesn't it?
Jaw fillers, cheekbone fillers, on a particular picture that was taken from a particular angle with quite a lot of makeup on, because it was like a specialist makeup shoot by actually people that trade in the cosmetic industry.
And when you say accused of, a lot of this is to do with social media, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Why did you do it? I mean, you're still relatively young. You were very young when you had these procedures done. Did they make you feel better?
Yes, I had bad teeth all my life, and it was a real confidence thing for me. So my mum didn't have great teeth her whole life as well, so she knew what it's like, and because mum and dad were in a position where they could help me with that, so we decided to have my teeth done. And then I'd say with having my boobs done, I grew up in the time of Katie Price, Chantal Horton, Jodie Marsh, etc. So the girls that were on TV had the hair extensions, had the boobs. Like my first pay packet from my job as an air hostess, I was like, I can get hair extensions now, and I was like 18.
And now, since last year, you've now become one of those influencers. And you have a responsibility, I guess. So I know you've got plans. Am I right to have more work on your teeth?
Yeah, have my teeth redone.
How do you broach that? Because obviously, if you have something done, are you concerned that's going to put all those young girls who follow you on Instagram, put them under pressure to have work done too?
See, I've had a lot of dentists message me, some nicely, some not so nicely, can I sort out your teeth for you? Saying that the work that I had done originally isn't what it should have been, and there's a reason that my jaw looks like
corrective work.
Corrective work.
Okay.
And also they do need redoing. I mean, they've been done for 11 years now, so they do need redoing. But I'm very careful with how I portray myself on social media. So when I was in the Love Island villa, I didn't wear makeup in the daytime. I ate cheesecake for lunch and for dinner. I didn't mind that I was just rocking about with my not perfect beach body. I think the first thing I said when I got in the villa was, there's the gym that I won't be using. So I was on holiday for potentially 8 weeks. But I am very conscious, so I will do stories, like Instagram stories with no makeup on, and I am very real. So if I get messages sometimes that say, your skin looks amazing today, what are you using? I will go back on and say, hi everyone, had lots of makeup on my skin, I'm using Paris filter, so you can all get skin like this too if you just use the filter, because I'm very open and honest with it.
Let's bring in Catherine. I mean, as I said at the beginning, women have always been under pressure, men too, to some extent, to make changes to the way they look. It's much harder, though, isn't it, for this generation with social media?
I think it is, and I think it's really sad that so many young people aren't happy with their bodies. Our bodies are our bodies, we should be comfortable in them and not do structural things. Hair dye is one thing, nail varnish is another, but actually having something done to your body which requires a general anaesthetic.
But it's interesting listening to Amy
me.
because, you feel it's made a difference to her life, made her happier.
I always say so. I did pageants before Love Island, and obviously I was a cab manager for a global airline. I probably wouldn't have had the confidence to do either of those had I not had my teeth on, which I know it sounds sad, but it is what it is, because I'm quite a happy person, but I didn't smile a lot because I didn't like my teeth, and having my teeth done did change my life. Probably the boobs I could do without, because I used to chicken fillet it up all the time. It just looks the same now, just without any help. But my teeth is a big thing, and it's the first thing people see about you is your smile.
I can understand teeth completely. It's when people have bits sucked out and bits pumped up that I really, but I personally don't understand. But if it makes you feel better, and if it stops people getting very stressed, I think there are mental health issues associated with all of this. But you're absolutely right. It should be regulated. It must be regulated. You can't have just random people doing serious things to others.
Let's bring in Charlotte. You've got children. You're a mum. I mean, it's how do you feel about what you've just heard?
And listening to you was really interesting because it is a slope. I've also had work done on my teeth because I had them knocked out with a pole when I was a teenager, and there's nothing worse than being a toothless teenager. Your confidence takes such a bash. I understand that, and then I suppose that gets you thinking: if veneers and building up your teeth is okay, what's not, and why? Well, you still need sometimes a general anaesthetic for that dental work, but regulation, if anyone was going anywhere near my teeth or my face, you'd absolutely want to know that they were qualified, trained, government approved, local authority known. All that should be, hopefully, your bill can pass with full backing of Parliament and then be built on in future. I really hope it is.
Dental-wise, I've been invited to Turkey and Budapest, a lot of abroad places, and absolutely not.
But they want to use you to market their own success.
But I won't go abroad. It's right for some people, but for me, if anything goes wrong later on, I want to be able to go to London or to Brighton.
Part of the wonderfulness of you are the quirks, surely. Yeah. Your teeth are wonderful, I'm very jealous. But it's also the slight quirkiness which makes your face even more interesting and lovely.
And let's just talk about Love Island, because it was mentioned in Pete's report that the Love Island surge, the fact that has an effect on the number of young women going to ask for procedures. What do you think, Laura? Is that do you blame programmes like Love Island for a lot of what we're talking about here?
I think blame is wrong. I think that it is true that young people, particularly young women, are under a huge amount of pressure from society nowadays, and that the causes of that are multifaceted and are not down to one individual programme. I think what my bill's trying to do is to make sure that that doesn't lead to people having unnecessary medical procedures, which can go very, very badly wrong at a very, very young age. And that's what this is concerned about. And I think it's not about judging anyone who has procedures or does anything at any later age. It's just making sure that you're in a position to do that, and that if you do it, it's regulated.
And a final word to you, Amy. I mean, we just talked a little bit earlier off air about the pressure you're under with social media, the comments you get. It's hard. How do you cope?
I mean, going back to what you said about like blaming Love Island, I always see can't have it both ways, because everyone says Love Island only recruit perfect people, but then the users of Instagram and Twitter have managed to find everything wrong with my friends and I who were in Love Island, and I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You know, I got trolled for the way I stand, the way I talk, my teeth, my lips, my nose, the fact that I'm fat. Like I'm a size 8.
You're joking.
You know, like, do you know what I mean? I got trolled for being fat and ugly. So it is hard, but you just have to try and remember.
Any regrets, quickly? Any regrets about it? No?
Because I now have the platform and I could use it to sell car air fresheners, or I could do stuff like this.
Well, we're very glad you're not selling car air fresheners and you're here with us. Amy, thank you so much.